You're on Now with Jaimee, the show where female founders, industry leaders, innovators, and disruptors all come to level the fuck up. Today's show is brought to you by The Shift, my one-on-one intensive session where we completely shift the trajectory of your business in just 7 days. What is hot for me in the industry this week is seeing women more and more practice mindfulness and really prioritize their self-care and wellness above everything else, especially their business. We're literally wired to want to put our business before everything else in our life, but I think it's really important to remember that our business is to support our life and not the other way around. So I love seeing people who are really prioritizing their self-care and their wellness. What is not hot for me this week is seeing people who are really kind of shaming other people for the way that they take care of themselves. Like, I don't care if you only eat organic food, meditate for 5 hours a day, don't touch your phone before lunchtime, go to bed at 8 o'clock every night and never watch Netflix. Like, I don't care. What I think is really important here is just making sure that you set the time for yourself in a way that feels good for you. I don't give a shit if you watch Netflix or not. And frankly, the whole conversation about successful people never watching TV, like, I just don't care. Sometimes we all just want to Netflix and chill, watch some trash TV, and like just check out from everything. And if that is what helps to like chill you the fuck out and you don't go to bed until 10 and so you wake up at, 8, who actually cares? It's about what works for you. Today's episode, I really want to actually take a bit of a dive in a different direction that I don't think I've ever really spoken about in anywhere, in any platform or anything before. And that is actually to take you through my own personal health journey. It's interesting because this journey was what really put me into this world of online business, but it's obviously unfolded in a way that I could never have predicted. But the reason I want to touch on this is because for me, my own health has started to come up as an issue again. I don't like to paint things as being problems because, I'm always ranting and raving about how when you have problems and you focus on them as problems, the problem grows and all of the things. But I do want to speak to it because I know that I'm not alone in this. And, I've seen over the last 2 years so many people burnt out because of the state of the world and everything that went on and not being able to prioritize themselves. And then women who also have ended up building businesses that are just not in alignment with them anymore, that are burning them to the ground and running away. And I honestly think that if we prioritized ourselves a little bit more in the growth of our business, things wouldn't get to that level where, you literally are shutting down. Like, let's talk about Vanessa Lau, who's literally shut down a multi-million-dollar business. And I mean, go her, because that would scare, I'd be in a mental ward. That would scare the shit out of me. I'm so here for it, for women seeing that things are out of alignment with them, and for, actually deciding to do the scary thing and make a change. I am so here for that. But I also feel like if we prioritized things in a different way throughout our journey, then maybe it wouldn't get to that. And so that's really why I want to share this to you. Obviously, Vanessa did not shut her business down because of health reasons. It was a whole host of things, and she's spoken to that so openly and so beautifully. But I do think that for some people, health plays a mega part of it. So for me, I have, since I was at university, really struggled with my health. And it was like really not for the lack of trying. I did exercise. I was always trying new diets. I was always doing something. And obviously I learned about health. I'm a pharmacist. I am a health professional. Learning about things at university like really fed my desire to want to understand health and like dis-ease in the body so much more. And so it was my own health struggles that really led me down this path of exploring different, methodologies of health and wellness. So struggled with health all through university, and it was like really miscellaneous things. Like nobody could tell me what was going on. I had really bad stomach cramping. I would go from like really bloated to constipated. I had cystic acne as a teenager. You can't tell because I did have laser treatment when I was 17, and that really, really helped. I do obviously still get pimples and my skin is not perfect, but it's fine. We're all here for that, right? But it was always just this miscellaneous stuff. I would sometimes have funny periods, always really heavy, always really painful. So I'd seen doctors, I had scans, nothing really pointed to anything. Nobody could give me any answers. I just tweaked my diet, exercised, and I managed to get some of it under control, but never fully there. It was fast forward to being a manager and in a store that was particularly challenging. And there's just like so much behind that. It's not really important. The point is, I was also living in a place that I didn't really love living in. We'd only moved there for the job opportunity. And at the time, it was like, you know what? We're willing to do whatever we need to do to progress in my career, particularly. I was really working towards becoming a managing partner, so owning a pharmacy. And I'd had like so many discussions with these particular owners about that coming, like being a possibility, but it required me to move, right? So that's what we did. But because I think it was a combination of things, like a stressful store, being in a place I didn't really want to be. I had a lot of just things that I was putting on myself, not in a great place in my relationship, like a whole comedy of things. All of these symptoms started coming back up again, but they were worse than ever. And so it led me to, again, going down the route of talking to doctors, really like diving into it all. And nobody could give me any answers once again. I was so fucking frustrated. Like, you have no idea, to literally be told by doctors. At that point, I was also gaining weight. I'd gained about 10 kilos, 15 kilos, something like that, which was just not normal for me. And I hadn't necessarily done anything different. I was literally told by the doctor, like, just exercise and eat healthy. And I wanted to literally like smash my head on her desk when she said that, because I had been doing the diets, I had been exercising, I'd been doing all the things, and nothing was working. Went down the naturopathic route, and that was really helpful. I did make some tweaks and changes. I was really focusing on supporting my body. But the biggest thing that she pointed out to me was stress, which was the big thing that I at that time had also overlooked. So I actually ended up resigning from that job, moving to a place where we were so much happier. And I, at that point, also made the decision to go off the contraceptive pill, because it had been suggested to me a few times that maybe it was masking something, and that is why I wasn't getting the answers. So went off the pill, did some more investigations. Lo and behold, I was diagnosed with polycystic ovarian syndrome, PCOS for short, which is what I will refer to it throughout this episode from here on in. And I know that that's super common. I know there are so many women out there who struggle with PCOS, and that's really why I want to speak to it. So it was a big, big time for me when I first, like, so weird when you finally have an answer for the things that are like going wrong, right? For these miscellaneous symptoms, for these weird things that are happening to you, it almost feels freeing, because it's like, well, now I know. Now I have an answer. And now that I have an answer, it means I have a place to work. I know what hormones are out of whack. I know that I need to heal my gut. I know all of these things I need to do. But at the same time, to be, I guess, like, given that, I don't like to call it a diagnosis, because I just don't see it as that kind of like disease. It's not really a disease, right? But I'm reframing disease is dis-ease in the body, right? And that's exactly what PCOS is. It's dis-ease. It's things out of imbalance. Anyway, receiving that information also really played on my mind in the realm of desiring to be a mum at some point. I'd seen a gynecologist. I had gone to her because I wanted to discuss options to rebalance my hormones and to really get things back on track so that when the time came that I did or was ready to be a mum, I would have no problems. And this was actually one of the most upsetting visits that I've ever had with a doctor. Basically, I was told that PCOS is something that you have for life. It can't be reversed. You can't rebalance your hormones. You basically need to be on the pill. And, there was a few other options to help with insulin resistance, which is really common with PCOS. And that when the time came, if I couldn't have a baby, then there were plenty of other options to assist medically. I literally left her office crying, and I cried all the way home. And I was ready to just give up on everything, go back on the pill and just do the things that she told me because, that's what I was trained in as well. As a pharmacist, that's what we learn. We learn the medical route. But it was actually around this time that I also dove headfirst into integrative nutrition and also functional medicine. So I was studying so much in that area, and I was like, you know what? No, I know that the food that we eat matters. And I know that things like, type 2 diabetes, PCOS, all of that actually have a root cause. And I know, I also just saw 11:11 when I saw that, by the way, when I said that. I know that there is things that I can do. There are things that I can do to naturally rebalance my hormones. So I went down that route and I ended up getting, I had symptoms under control. My weight was back under control. Everything was great. And I literally fell pregnant with my son this first cycle of, trying to have a baby. So I didn't have any issues with that. And I was honestly so proud of what I managed to achieve. Am I saying that this is going to be the case for everyone? No, I'm not. I'm literally just sharing my experience. Now, what's happened from there though is, becoming a mom is a whole thing. My health actually improved so much throughout my journey of being a mom, breastfeeding, everything. It was all amazing. It was actually when I stopped breastfeeding that I have noticed now my symptoms starting to come back up. It's really weird. And so, the bloating is coming back, all of those things, the weight gain, and just generally feeling shit, feeling anxious, all of that stuff that says to me, my hormones are out of whack again, right? And I think why I really wanted to share this with you is because it is easy to get caught up in the day-to-day life and in all of the things that you've got to do. And it is so easy in those moments to not put yourself first, to not put your health first, to not put your wellness first. In the last 18 months, my own wellness routines, my own taking care of myself has gone down the drain because I've been so focused on building this business, on being present on social media, on creating content and these podcasts and YouTube videos and everything that I've been doing. And then when I'm not focused on that, obviously, I also have a family and I'm focused on my son and being a present mum. And at no point have I made the conscious decision to put myself or my health first. And now I am basically, reaping the repercussions of that. And so I want to share with you 5 things that I am doing now to reprioritize my wellness, to rebalance my hormones, and to make sure that I am in the best state that I can be. Why this is relevant to you is because this is actually a self-sabotage pattern that literally, now I know everyone wants to say the thing that no one's talking about, but this is literally the thing that no one's talking about. The self-sabotaging pattern that literally no one is talking about is your health and wellness. If you are not in your best state, or at least putting effort into being in your best state, you are sabotaging yourself. You cannot show up online as your best version when inside you are not your best version. When inside you are not healthy, you are out of balance, you are out of whack. I can basically guarantee you that in any visualization that you do of your next level self, right? Because we know when we're quantum leaping, we want to embody that version of us. I can guarantee you that there is some point of wellness, of health in that next level version of you that you are not currently doing, right? And I know that we have so much resistance to it. There's like the time factor and like just the actual effort of doing it right. But it's really time. Like we talk about mindset in so many different ways. Like we're always reprogramming our money mindset and reprogramming our fear of failure and perfectionism and all this shit. It's also time to start prioritizing, reprogramming our resistance towards looking after ourselves and prioritizing ourselves. And so that actually is one of the tips that I have for you, one of the things that I will be doing moving forwards to prioritize my wellness and to help rebalance my hormones. And that is literally reprogramming my subconscious mind when it comes to health. So what I actually do here is I use the superconscious recode with the true end result being choosing health and vitality, because that is actually one of the core choices that we all should have, right? We all should be choosing and prioritizing our health and vitality. And so what I'll be doing is literally choosing that and reprogramming any resistance that comes up to it. I was going to commit to this on a weekly basis, but I'm going to just see how I feel. It might be weekly, it might be fortnightly, it might be a couple of times a week. It really just depends what's coming up for me and how much resistance I'm really feeling when it comes to implementing the other things. Now, the second thing I'm going to be doing is I've already had a blood test to really look into what exactly is going on. And this is something I recommend for you. How often do you go to the doctor for an actual checkup and just have like, the full bloods done, the full checkup, all of the things? If you haven't had something like that done in the last 12 months, I highly recommend it just to keep on top of things. It can be really simple shifts. Sometimes it's just, your iron levels are a little bit low and you might need a supplement to support that. I do not recommend trying to blindly go into finding any supplements without having bloods first. And of course, speaking to a medical practitioner. I didn't add the disclaimer to this because I actually have every right to speak about all of this. I am a pharmacist. I'm trained in integrative nutrition. I'm trained in functional medicine. I'm applying all of that stuff to myself. I'm literally just sharing tips with you that I have found helpful. But I want you to take these and apply them in a way that is right for you. And so that does mean, and by the way, I just this is for everyone. When you see people on YouTube, on social media, talking in podcasts about supplements and things that they're taking, I do not believe that we should ever be copying what someone else is taking just because they're taking it because they said it's amazing. I really do think we need to be really looking at ourselves, looking at our own symptoms, looking at our own bloods, looking at what works for us in our life and our goals, and deciding on what supplements and things to take from there. The third thing I will be doing is actually somatic exercises. And oh my God, this blew my brain. So we know the theory of trauma being trapped in the body. Maybe you don't know. So there's quite a few people who speak about, different ailments and diseases and issues with the body being related to trauma and tension being trapped in the body, right? We're energetic beings. Okay. So it does make sense that those sorts of heavy emotions and experiences could be stored and trapped in our body. Okay. And there's many different ways to release this. I do a lot of energetic work in the superconscious recode, but it's obviously just done from the energetic space, which is just as effective, but I want to really beef that up. And so I am adding in somatic exercises just to help support the recode in shifting this resistance, this dead energy, and all of these things. And I'm actually on day 9 now of somatic exercises, and it's wild. It's actually it's fun and it's relaxing. And I've had some I feel really big releases. If you want to check out the creator that I have got these exercises from, her name is Workout Witch. Her name is Liz. She is amazing. And she has a whole host of programs on her website. Again, this isn't sponsored. I don't this isn't a collaboration with her. I just genuinely am loving the exercises. They're so simple. They range between 5 to 20 minutes. And she actually recommends buckle up. She actually recommends to do them in the laziest way possible. She's like, if that means you're in bed, then cool. Like, you want to be lazy. And I'm so here for doing anything that allows me to be lazy. So I'm committing to these exercises every day, and also like general stretching and things like that. The fourth thing that I'm doing to prioritize my wellness and help rebalance my hormones is I have set a rule, and that is no coffee before food. I have found myself in this really terrible, terrible habit of drinking so much coffee, starting my day with the coffee, and it just, like, honestly, it doesn't actually make you feel good. Like, it tastes delicious. I drink coffee because I love it, but I realized that it doesn't actually make me feel good. It doesn't actually wake me up. It's just a habit. And so what I've replaced my morning coffee with is literally chlorophyll in water. It is actually delicious. And it's funny because I did say once upon a time, like, you'll never see me starting my day with a green drink. Your girl starts her day with a green drink, and I'm loving it. So every day I start my day with a chlorophyll. I know some people like lemon water or greens or whatever. Honestly, do what works for you. I'm just loving chlorophyll at the moment. It tastes really nice. There's lots of benefits to chlorophyll. It's alkalizing, and I'm sure that there are other experts on here who can tell you all of the amazing benefits to it. But yeah, starting my day with chlorophyll. And I've actually noticed, I feel like my skin is a lot nicer since I've started doing that. Don't know if that's a thing. And then having a protein-rich breakfast and then having my coffee. And it's interesting because since doing that, I feel like I'm craving coffee less. Don't know if there's what the thing is behind that, but anyway, it's a thing. The fifth thing that I'm doing is also I'm going to start a regular exercise regime, but I'm not going to make it strenuous and stressful. I actually hate exercise. I would rather go for a walk. I would rather do Pilates. I would rather do nothing than force myself to run or do any sort of high intensity interval training or anything that, like, it. I said to my husband the other night, when I even think about really pushing myself from an exercise perspective, it's like I can feel the cortisol releasing in my body. And you know what? Maybe that's resistance that I could recode and reprogram, but I just don't care. I feel like when it comes to exercise, I'm in my like slow, lazy girl era, and I don't care. I'm so here for it. So I'm just going to prioritize time to do some Pilates routines at home. Maybe check out a Pilates studio or two when I can. Maybe do some like, weight training at the gym, some walking. Like, I just want to make it fun and relaxing. That's what I'm here for when it comes to exercise. Something that just gets me out of like the fast pace of my life and allows me that time and space to slow down and really reflect. When I walk, when I do things in this way, I always find that I open myself up to so many downloads. And so that is what it is about for me. Just really reconnecting, really, taking care of myself and doing it in a slow way that actually feels good for me and my body. Does that mean that I will always stay that way? Probably not. I like to go with the flow with things and change things up all the time. So I literally could re-record this episode in 3 weeks' time and say something completely different. It doesn't matter. That's not what we're here for. But I really hope, I know that this was such a random episode, but I just, like I said, I wanted to really share this to serve as a reminder for you to take care of yourself now so that you don't end up in, a position like me where you've got things back out of whack and out of control that, then becomes an issue to fix. I think we have become very reactive in the way that we do stuff. It's like with our mindset. We're always waiting to come up against ourselves to do the mindset work when we actually could just do the mindset work along the journey, do the reprogramming, do the recoding along the journey for the small things. And then things wouldn't be such a big issue, right? It's the same with health. If you just prioritize those little wellness steps every single day, it's going to prevent you from having to be in the position where you need to give yourself a whole life overhaul. Let's start to be more proactive rather than reactive when it comes to our business, our life, and looking after ourselves. And I also just want to finish on retouching on that self-sabotaging pattern and reminding you once again that this is a thing, right? Not prioritizing yourself, your wellness, your health is a massive way that you are sabotaging yourself. Again, you cannot expect to show up and glow and shine online with confidence, looking amazing, looking energetic, when inside you do not feel that way. Or there's the whole fake it till you make it. And obviously, despite my own health issues, I have managed to still maintain my energy online. But I can guarantee you, once things are back, on track, rebalanced, once I'm feeling better, the energy that you see is going to be so different, next level. Like, this is a thing. I promise you. Start prioritizing your health and wellness and watch everything else start to shift.